exam prep for all day, and then I would be able to take the test that final day on the Friday.
Is that in Billings?
Great Falls.
Great Falls. It's the Montana Rural Water Conference.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a flyer in there that shows what's going on.
Okay.
And then they've also, special to that conference, they give out motel rates. And, cause it's a 3-day, 2-night deal or whatever, and, there's just some rates in there. And so just, I would like to get that process started if you guys, and the money's really not that bad, it's not too terrible.
Well, the money's already built into your budget, so,
Well,
when things like
Okay.
that come up, it's already there for you to go to those schools and get certified in whatever you need to, so. Same with Jan, if she has to go to a conference in Billings or something for clerks and elected officials or something, that is already there.
Okay. So, yeah, so if there's
That's
any.
just something that needs to be done
All right.
all the time, so.
And the sooner you get the application in, the sooner he can get his study materials.
Right,
They give about a huge packet of stuff for
right.
his study materials,
Yeah.
so,
And
yeah.
Josh Javalera, who is really great with that kind of stuff, and he has offered to come up and go through a lot of the points and everything that he'll be looking at on the exams, so,
Mhm.
it's not till the end of February.
That's
What's
a
the-
blink of an eye.
What's the deadline on getting that in?
The registration's on there, I believe,
I think
February
it's 30,
8th.
I think it's 30 days, for DEQ, it's 30 days before the conference, so he needs to get it in by January 20th.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah,
And he can do all that online,
Yeah, there's a lot of it I
Yeah.
can, yeah.
sure he can.
well,
You'll have
Yeah.
to, we'll have to write a check or something.
Well,
Yeah.
and
he
he
can
has to
send
show
it.
proof of high school GED, or high school graduation or GED or whatever.
Mhm.
You've gotta get a copy of that certificate. My one employee that got that, he actually never paid his shop fines for damaging some wood or something, so he never got his high school graduation document, so he had to go and still pay it. And that was 10 years ago in Billings, so, yeah, so I'm sure, get that or a
Yeah,
copy of
I've
the
read that.
GED, and then,
Mhm. Yeah.
and you have to send that in. It's quite the process. They don't take this
They just
lightly.
don't take just,
No,
So better off to get on it early rather than
Mhm.
late.
yeah,
And I'm
Right.
hoping to have
Yeah.
that filled out by the end of this week,
yeah,
yep.
all the documents and.
good.
And then, so yeah, if there's any questions or comments from the public.
It's quite a little process, like we just talked about, for him to get that, so the sooner the better, because one of my employees passed and one of my employees did not. The test, you know how tests can be, sometimes
Mhm.
people get a little stressed out. I'm sure Jeremy will do great on that, but then after that, it's supposedly the states say anywhere from 6 months to a year, called OIT.
Mhm.
It's an operator in training, and then I can certainly teach him all I know and then some, and then he would be ready to take over. Yep, that's fine. And then he needs to get his sewer license too.
Right,
I don't recommend, it's up to you though, Jeremy, but I don't recommend you do them both at the same time. It's an awful lot of studying that you have to do, and they give you 3 hours to take the test, or tests plural. So you kind of, there's some stress. You take one test, then you go hand it up and you take another one. So
So
it
is
can be a
sewer-
little stressful.
Is sewer in the same conference as water?
Yes, it is the same, and that's another
So-
thing too, is, in fact, that's what I dealt with, is that you take this whole training sessions, these classes for the water side, while in the other room, the sewer training is going on as well. So, good point, so it's tough to do it all both at the same conference, yes.
usually
yes.
they do it at separate times.
They offer the same package, the same
Right.
conferences, both water and sewer together, but at separate times.
Mhm.
I just came from the Fall Water School in Bozeman, and that's where we got our certifications, and the same thing takes place at rural water in the spring. There's also some conferences that are taking place in Billings,
Mhm.
the end of April, put on the Montana section of the American Water Works Association. I don't know if that has certification classes though.
I believe it does.
Yeah, and there's also a spring water school
Right.
in Billings, actually. Yeah,
I believe
that's
that's
the
in
same.
March, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yes, that's in March. So you might want to look at that schedule too.
Alright.
Yeah.
Is there any specific things that we gotta, for the town to run, for like an operator maintaining a license for sewer, like a timeline we need to?
The only timeline is that I'll maybe need to expand on your question if I don't answer properly. After an operator gets his OIT or after he gets certified, it's CECs or CEUs, those credits, continuing ed credits. You just have 2 years to get X number of credits after you're certified. So that's no problem. If he goes to rural water once a year, he can attend those classes, or there's always a conference in Billings that he could go to get those credit points as
Right,
well.
he gets those CCs when he
Yep.
goes up there, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was curious.
Yeah, because those are kind of an automatic thing with a lot of those classes, if you go in the conferences in the spring and the fall.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, the classes that he'll be taking, the training sessions, however, do not count for credits.
Right,
It's
right.
all the other ones that you go to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, anything else, Jeremy?
No, that's it.
Any other discussion? Any questions?
How's the meter readings? Have you got 100% of them? I mean, are you comfortable with where everything is?
It's still a learning process, but I mean, it's getting better by all means. I've got all the manual ones down, but there just needs, there's some coming back, like we had 5 out of our whole last batch with weird results and weird numbers. So I'd have to go do rereads. And then, but her and I are also working with the billing company to figure out what these glitches might be, because one account showed up at, you say 900,000 gallons. So I need to go investigate more into those as they're coming up, but I'm thinking a lot of these meters are getting old because some of them, it's like every 2 months or 3 months they throw out a high number, but then I go reread or the next month and it's back on track. It's
So,
like,
yeah, we
just
might just
random.
think about changing
yeah,
out
and
that meter.
there's been like 3 or 4 consistent on the radio reads that I need to speak with the homeowners and get in and see what's happening with their meters, because they're on the radio read. And so to manually read them, it doesn't work if it's a radio read. It just rejects the handheld reader. And then I try, anyway, so yeah, but the manual reads I'm comfortable with. I've got that down, I know where they're all at, and I'm getting really efficient at that, and I can get it all done in one day, actually.
And we might double check later on, that toward the middle of the month, Jeremy, if those reads are still wacky and on those 3 or 4 or 5 meters, then we might just look at changing those meters out and see what's going on with that later.
Yeah.
Because on the radio reads, usually it'll give you a printout or list of, there might be a water leak, or, it'll tell you on those, on that, when they print out the exceptions on the computer, it will tell you exactly, pretty much if there's a water leak, if there's a, something going on with those meters, so. We might look at that and then go and change them out and see where we go with that. If it's not that, then we'll have to do some more investigating.
And that's like your point of the water consumption, how is it being documented and tracked?
Right.
Yeah, there might be someone, they're just,
Unfortunately,
flooding their field with the water.
we can't use a flow chart on every meter in town, so.
The one thing, Jeremy, I've been talking about is redoing this scheduling on the meter reads to be a little bit earlier in the month than at the very end of the month.
Right, and I think that's a good idea.
Just because it takes him 2 days to read the meters and give them to me, and then going through billing and stuff like that, and then if we do it like on the 15th or so of each month, we have time to do all those exceptions and look up and have
Right,
the
and that was
rereads.
suggested really strongly by Michael from Corn, Maine, and also from Spencer.
And so it gives us time so that the bills can go out by the end of the month, but we can work on the exceptions of
Right.
where we're having problems. I thought we did pretty good for having
Yeah.
5 out of 200 some accounts.
Well, and if that's okay with the council, I would suggest that you start right away and go 3.5 weeks or so and make it a couple month transition. You could go the December and read them the 20th. That would put it before Christmas, before the New Year's. Don't read them between Christmas and New Year's. But read them on the 20th in December. And then in January you could read them on the 15th.
Right.
And as you remember, Michael and I both talking, the
Yeah.
15th we thought was a good date to
Well,
stick to.
because, just from my own past experience, the bills were always sent out by the 10th of the month. They were all read, they were all sorted in books and everything else. And I went through each one of them, I sent letters out to everyone that had a really delinquent bill. I stamped them all, closeout bills if they had moved, sold their house, moved or whatever. And I had over 4,000 of those little cards, same thing that she has. And they went out by the 10th, they were all mailed by the 10th. The bills were due to be paid by the 20th. My meter reader started reading them right after that cutoff date, right after that 20th of the month. And so yeah, it's just, it makes more sense in the long run because it frees up some time and it gives everybody time to, you
Not
know,
under the
like
gun.
Jan and.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the end of the month, and your meeting's here on the
Right.
2nd or the 3rd.
Right, and
You
then
know, it
so
allows
here, you know,
for-
here you are and,
Yeah.
and poor Jan, she's just been inundated with all kinds of everything that we, you know,
Yep.
we've had to do, yeah.
If you're gonna do this transition, at least put it on the bottom of next month's bill or
Right,
whatever.
and
We're
we do have the-
transitioning,
Yes,
we are
and we
doing
have the
this.
capabilities to print on those bills, and so we should have, you know, over the years, informed the consumer of those things anyway, like the raise of the rates and how, you know, the times, the dates that they were gonna be raised and all that stuff, so. And I think that's a good idea. But we've had so many problems with everything. We're going to have to end up going through the last 12 years and correcting a lot of things on the accounts. And plus the whole billing process is, we've got people that had $4,000 bills, you know, and so and you can't just keep going back, and so we're gonna have to reformat a lot of that software. That's gonna cost us some money to get all that fixed. So anyway,
Jeremy, do you have any meters that are non-operational in town?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, everything,
Everything's reading?
yeah.
Okay. I know we had talked a while back and you thought there was one that
Well,
that
there's,
wasn't hooked up.
well, there'd be two. But they're I guess I could give out names. The Logan's original homestead house.
right,
That one still has a meter in it, but there's no, you know, it's been abandoned for
No
I don't know how
service.
many years.
yeah,
And then the next one would be on Second on the end. I guess it's owned by Bowens, is what's on my record. There's 2 meters there. One, it must have been an old property there that I don't remember even growing up.
You're talking around, across from Elton?
Yeah,
Okay, there was a trailer years and years ago there, and they shouldn't be billed for that legitimately because it is all the same property and they have not ever moved a new trailer
They
into
combined
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah, it should be combined.
and other than that, everything's in service and reads.
You asked me about one earlier, did you get that
I
one taken care
found
of?
it.
You did,
Yeah.
okay, great,
Yeah.
great.
All right, that's all I had. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Well, this young lady in front of me, I don't know names. but
Tammy Taylor,
Tammy-
this is Spencer
Oh, we've met, but I
Stone.
don't remember names. But Tammy has a valid point. Unfortunately, for Jeremy's sake, December 28th, if you're gonna stick to reading them on the 28th, is the Friday of the New Year's holiday. You know, I mean, Tammy's exactly right. I would love to ask for forgiveness from the town and have Jeremy read them on December 20th if I had my druthers, but I'm just a peon. But-
It doesn't really matter to me, it's just you're hitting people at the holiday time and if you do a couple days difference, it really,
It does.
it upsets the apple cart, I hate to say
Right,
it.
but if you do it a couple days earlier, you're gonna have a smaller water bill.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
and then
So-
too, at the end
That's-
of, and the bills won't go out until after the holiday anyway,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
but
So actually,
you'll
it might,
still.
Yeah,
it
and
might
then it
actually
doesn't
help
matter.
people, cause you're gonna have a short bill and a short bill.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a short
That's
bill.
true.
So
And like I
that
said,
gives
just
people
stick
till
it on that.
February before they're
Right,
Yeah.
actually.
February
Right, and then
15th,
just
they
make
will
a
get a full
notation,
That actually helps.
make
Just
a
make a
notation on
notation
it
at
that
the
they're
bottom.
transitioning
More
the billing
money,
system and,
because people
you
are
know.
caught back up
Well,
after the holiday.
and stick up a
think it'll work.
poster in both the post office and
Yeah.
stuff, so people are kind of
Okay.
planning
Because I-
on the
yeah.
fact that,
Exactly.
you know, your bill's gonna be shorter this month and here's why.
Yeah,
We're reading early and we're gonna transition it.
mhm.
And I stopped in the office today and bless Jan's heart, she was on the phone with someone talking about the water billing. And I know I brought it up last month, Shirley, and I know it's not terribly cheap, but I think that, I don't know how much time Jan actually is spending with the new meter bills coming out and all this stuff, how much time she actually spends on fielding phone calls, but if there's any way that the
That's
town
not
wants
just
to
the
move
water
forward
bills.
with internet payment of the bills
We've
and,
talked about
Okay.
that, yeah,
Okay, great.
and we're going to have some planning meetings, I'm gonna try at least have one before the first of the year,
Okay.
before the holidays, so that we can discuss, a few things and try to get something,
cause that one company
coordinated to
was
where-
willing to waive the $2,000 setup fee, but
Mhm.
it was like $60 a month, I thought, and thought it might be a little steep, and your old hometown, I think, uses that same company.
Yes, we do. Mhm.
Yeah, and so I thought it was a great plug for you, because you did the whole hometown and probably had some contacts, so, yeah. But
There is one that is free, the Bridger, town uses it,
Oh,
Mhm.
and it's, pay.gov, I believe,
Mhm.
and it doesn't cost anything,
Oh,
it
sweet.
only costs the user. So if you're gonna use your card and pay online like that, they charge like $4 or $5 to use the system. It doesn't cost the town anything, it costs the person who pays.
oh, cool.
And she says she's gotten more people who don't pay their bills when
To
they
pay 'em.
to pay them, and they'd rather pay that $5 extra and pay it online and have it done and over with than anything else. She says she's gotten a lot of more response
go.
that way. So that's something I can talk to Kristen about and see how hard it is to get it implemented and put to use in the office.
Does Black Mountain have anything in their system that you can do that?
I can ask, I have
Okay,
no
I
idea.
don't know.
Yeah, because we've got some, modules that, in Black Mountain, and there's software that we need to activate that would make the clerk's job a whole lot simpler as
Yes.
far as
Yeah.
data input and all that stuff, so.
Since we're talking about the water bills, did we figure that there was a month last summer that we didn't send out
Yes.
bills? Have we made
We-
plans to get those bills sent out?
We're gonna have to discuss that, and.
We
we're
need to
gonna-
discuss that.
Actually, I was gonna bring that up on public comment, that's not on the agenda,
Okay.
just so the council could
All right,
discuss that specifically.
Because I know what the circumstances were, but we can't talk about that in open public meeting, so.
we can talk about getting the bills sent out though,
Yeah.
can't we?
Yeah, and it just bothers me,
Yeah.
to go back and say, well, you weren't billed for June, so now we're gonna bill you 4 months later, 5 months later. That,
Why does
whole
that
thing-
bother you?
well,
Well,
because it just does, I mean,
That's a service that was rendered, right?
right.
That's something that the council will need to.
And we did have people that did come in and pay their bill anyway, because they came in and asked, what do I owe? We had one guy that came in 3 separate months in a row and asked what he owed on his bill, and he was told nothing. And then he got a bill for like $400 and some, and Jan had to wriggle around, and try to figure out what happened with it, so. It's been a mess, like I said. Any other discussion, comments?
I have a public comment I'd like to make. Is it public
I
comment?
think we're on
No,
dates
we're
on
on
planning.
We're on
Dates
Well,
for planning
meetings
well,
right
do we
now.
need to approve
We
anything
need
that
to
Jeremy
approve
said?
Jeremy's,
I make a
report.
motion to approve Jeremy's report as stated.
I'll second that.
All approved,
Aye.
all opposed? Okay, sorry. Oh. Okay. Dates for planning meetings. Now, this is gonna have to be up to the council because I don't know your schedules. I do have Jeremy's schedule, but not, or not Jeremy, but Nate's schedule, but not in front of me.
Basically, for me, with basketball season in, Friday and Saturdays are kinda off the table, but anything else I'm good with. That's something
Yeah,
that-
and it'll be in the evening, cause Tim has Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Bill is, what are your hours generally? Are they in the evening,
Every night of the week,
every night of the week? From what time to what time?
from when I get there to when I leave.
I'd say a Tuesday if we're gonna do it. So if
You
it's
just
good Monday,
don't have it scheduled?
I'd say a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if we do it on,
What
yeah,
about a Tuesday in December? How does that work for you?
Tuesday or Wednesday,
Sure, either of those two would be fine.
I am booked up on the 11th, probably through the rest of the week. It doesn't,
So say
Guys
like
can-
18th maybe?
18th would be good, I could do it on the
Tuesday,
18th.
Tuesday, the third week, every month on Tuesdays, it depends, I'm on the planning board,
Oh, right.
planning board committee for the Crawford County. And sometimes we have them and sometimes we don't, because it depends on what's on the agenda.
So say the 19th then possibly?
Wednesday, the 19th. How early or how late?
7:30.
yeah, 7:30 is fine.
Is that gonna be
Yeah.
good with you? Because
Yep.
it shouldn't take us
Always.
more than like
Any
an
evening.
hour, you know, to decide what we're gonna, okay.
Any evening's fine. So, it's, what day?
December 19th, that's on a Wednesday?
Yep. 7:30.
Okay. Okay, now Elton, we're to public comment.
Yeah, I wanted to address a certain amount of inaccuracy last meeting. And I want to put it on the record.
Okay.
The letter that was read, quoted from me, was not read correctly. Paragraph 2, my quote, Jan has good military experience, but, and I had a question, will she go against the law if the boss expects her to, as in the military? Question mark. She is desperate for a real job. Will she? Question. Do whatever it takes to please? Question. You read that as a statement. You said, Jan will go against the law if her boss expects her to, as in the military, and you said she will do whatever it takes to please.
I'm pretty sure that,
That's
but I'll
not
go
the way I
back and
heard
listen
it.
to the tape. I asked that as it was written with a question mark.
Well, the reason is I was a little bit shocked when I heard it, and I went back and checked my own work.
And I have a copy of it, so I will, and I'll listen to the recording again, but I'm pretty sure I read it as it was written on
But at
the
any
letter.
rate, the little backlash could not have happened if it had been read correctly. Because Dottie said, how do you know this girl? Well, the point is I didn't. That's why I asked the question. So, I think that.
Well, the fact is that Jan does not have a military background to begin with, so I don't know where that came from, but her husband did. She was not in the military, her husband was.
Us didn't come up in the interview like that at all.
Yes, it is.
That's the way I took it.
She had security clearance, everything.
You
I
always
worked
do
for
when
the-
you work on base.
I worked on base as a civilian.
And
But at any
civilians,
rate,
if they're working on a military base.
But at any
have
rate,
a
whether I was
security
wrong or
clearance.
not isn't the point. The point is, if you're gonna read a letter, you do it accurately.
And I did do it accurately. I had your copy of your letter right in front of me.
You don't realize that.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I have something I'd like to bring up, and it has to do with the non-bill, when we did not bill anybody for water, sewer, and garbage in July. As a council, we all need to, either we got a bill for it, or
Somehow,
we're all gonna have
approve
to
that.
just vote on it and say we're gonna forget it.
Because the town is out in revenue at approximately $35,000.
You're not out for water money, you're just out for sewer and garbage.
Well, it's.
Water bills were read and gallons were assessed.
But your basic fee was not assessed.
The basic fee was not assessed. And for those that did come and pay their water bill, it'll reflect on your water bill, because I still on mine show that I've overpayment. It's just that I probably need to kick a few more dollars in to catch up, but I know that's the way my water bill shows. But we need to address it as a council to, if we do it, I know Christmas is a hard time to tell everybody, town screwed up, we didn't get a water bill sent out. However,
Well, the thing
if
that
we
is
could
is
give
that
an
we
option
could
of
maybe
3 months
give
to pay it.
it an option to pay a certain amount every month.
That's what I was gonna suggest is give them the bill, put the statement on there that it was missed, and give them the chance to make payments over the next period, and say by such July 1st, it needs to be paid in full.
Yes.
Right,
So
because
you got a deadline.
for some people, even, an extra $20 or $10 a month on top of their regular billing is not gonna help them one bit, because they're
You
gonna
don't-
have that. And
You
there
don't know
are
how
some,
cold this winter is, you
Right.
don't know what's gonna be expense, so.
exactly, so.
Give them the
And
option.
if anybody has an issue with their paying their water bills and their sewer bills, and they need to come talk to us so we can, work with them.
They need, if they have an issue with it, they need to write a letter of hardship or something and
Yes.
say, hey.
I agree, so that we can, so we can work with them to get these things resolved. Because I think there's several out there that have extremely high bills that have not been paid. And
Did you have something to say?
I understand your point, and I don't have a problem with it, but here's where I do have a problem. Let it be a lesson and don't ever let it happen again,
Believe me.
because it is very poor business. If I ran a business and 3 months after the fact, you came in and I said, oh, by the way, the gas you got 3 months ago, I'm now going to bill you for it.
And that's why I said I was really uncomfortable kind of doing it that way. I realized that they did receive the services. But to me, and I'm with Tammy, as far as a business point of view, it kind of rankles me.
Well, I don't know how it happened, but it happened.
yeah, exactly.
There's no excuse for it to happen.
That's,
But it happened.
yeah, I understand that, but like I said, if you're a small business and you do something like that, most people I know, they eat it.
But then, and I can see the other side of it too, because the town cannot afford to lose that amount of money in revenue. And it's.
No, it represents a large percentage of our
Yes, it does.
annual income.
It represents a large percentage of our enterprise funds, which is water and sewer.
I think that bill almost needs to be sent out with a letter. It was a total oversight. We take responsibility for it. But it's such a large amount that we cannot let this go.
Right.
You have 3 months grace period, not just the little,
We make it to 5.
5 months
Yeah.
grace
Yeah, we
period.
could, we could, yeah, we could do
Yeah.
that.
We're stuck on it.
Yeah,
That's why I
With
say,
high
July.
utilities all winter and everything else.
yeah.
that's why I
Yeah,
said June.
and like I
Some of us don't
said,
have
but send them a
money
letter,
for that.
because this just doesn't, I mean, to just tack it on the bill and go,
Is there any way that Hope, could you draft us a letter to send out with these bills? So that-
Just say, there was a mistake made.
Yeah, Jan can do
We got
that.
services, and to try to go back and estimate water, I think the base rate.
I
Yeah,
think we
just
just
the
a
base
base
rate.
rate is all we
Just
need, we
like that.
All
don't
it is
need
just the
to,
base
yeah,
rate.
no, we
They
wouldn't.
caught up on the usage when they did finally get an actual reading and all that stuff. There's a few bills that came up that were very expensive because they didn't get billed, and there was estimates done for so long that when they did finally get an actual reading, there was a lot of usage that represented it. So they got billed for the usage
Right,
eventually.
and a lot of it
It's
How,
just the
how
base-
are, how are we
like-
handling
like-
those issues?
Yeah, I just tell them that basically, they come in and they ask why it's so high. It's just there has been estimations for at least 6 to 8 months before we got an actual reading. And then also that there was a bill that was not
Not sent out.
sent out, so that reflects, and there was nothing put in the computers either so that reflects all the usage for at least 8
And
months.
plus too, then we go back, I have a run out, look at the history and run out, people that come in and say, wow, this usage is high, or I feel like this is really, more than I actually used. So I print out a history, the customer history, from
And
this point
It's right on.
to last
Yeah.
year at this point. And you can see where, yes, they've used that water in this month, and it's pretty darn close for most of them, so. Because
Yeah,
my
I don't
bill is the
expect
same
anything
way.
other than the standard fee.
So the most bills for a month run about 100 for your basic water and your and sewer and your garbage. It's about $129.
Yeah, $129, $134, $129.
Depending on how many garbage cans and
Right.
your service, but most of the time it's just basically $129.
Right.
Then you get billed for
Yeah,
the
because even my bill,
usage
when
of
we
water.
finally got a reading, my water bill was pretty high.
Why don't you,
But still,
why
you
don't
know.
you get a proposal together, put it on the agenda, the January meeting? So you can't vote on it since it wasn't a specific
Right,
agenda item tonight. But I agree, you have to, you can't just forgive it, and it is bad business practice, but you're still a town that's trying to survive,
boy, you bet we are.
on a short account. And yes, I will help if you want me to look at drafting or put it back on as a agenda item.
So our next, any other public comment? I'm sorry.
Just one more
Tim.
quick.
Yes.
I have one comment, and I do understand, because you made the deal at the beginning, that your life is over hectic and stuff like that. But this agenda wasn't posted.
I
The
know,
meeting was posted, but the
I
agenda
know.
was not posted.
I know.
When you want to change ordinances, when you want people to follow ordinances, you yourselves better be
Right.
the prime example.
And I know it wasn't, because when I came in this afternoon, I asked her if she had posted the agenda Friday, and she goes, oh, wait, she's got stacks of stuff everywhere. I said, that's fine. Nate went over and posted it at the post office earlier today.
So, and I knew the meetings, but I did not know about the agenda. So
Yeah.
next month it will not, it will be posted at the same time as the meetings.
Interestingly enough, if I may, Tammy, you mentioned it, I think it was when we were changing the meeting ordinance about posting it in 3 locations. But when I was going through the ordinances, they'd already agreed to post it in 3 locations, public locations in town,
Yeah,
per ordinance. Okay,
Okay.
so I agree with you.
yeah.
Just to, as a note.
Are we gonna use for a third spot?
That's the issue, is, when we're talking about,
I mean, all we can do
When
is
we're
put it in
talking-
the
Because
warrant.
the whole thing is like, some of us have no purpose to go to the post office. We have to drive out of the way to drive past the city hall. So, something online,
Aaron,
I
it's
have-
12 steps from your
No,
house.
I have a
my
suggestion.
mailbox is in the front of the house. I
This
have
is-
no purpose to go there. So
Wait.
to find out about a special meeting or anything, I have to drive all the way around or walk over. There's
But
gotta be something.
There's another deal, like I said at the last meeting, you can use that app if you set it up, it's not that flippin' hard. Set up an app